And I know this might be controversial, I don't think we need Doll in the series. Murder Drones is an indie animation series written by Liam Vickers and produced by Glitch Productions. If you haven't seen it, well, it's free on YouTube, so. It centers around our worker drone protagonist, Uzi Dorman, who is just the embodiment of Hot Topic. It's amazing. She lives on Copper 9, a mining planet owned by the company J.C. Jensen. Big On used to host a human colony. The leftover robots picked up where the human society left off, and their parent company wasn't too keen on that. So they sent 3 disassembly drones to the planet to, take care of the corrupted workers. And judging by the giant sprawled corpses, I'd say they did a pretty killer job. So, to defend themselves, the worker drones built an underground bunker with 3 massive doors to protect themselves from the said disassembly drones. The worker drone responsible for building these doors was Con Doorman, and Uzi is, as you could probably tell from the last name, his daughter. She thinks that the best course of action is to fight the drones, not hide from them, so she builds a real gun capable of killing them. Con, on the other hand, doesn't agree and wants to stay hidden in the bunker. So we kind of have a good idea of the setup, right? Company evil, humans are bad for the environment and kill a planet, robots take over, company sends more robots to kill said robot scabs, robots hide, Uzi wants to kill them back and reclaim the planet, and Khan wants to hide and trade the territory for their mostly guaranteed safety. Relatively straightforward setup, and I think the beginning of the pilot does do a good job of conveying this to the viewer. Now, if that's not intriguing to you, I'm going to once again recommend that you go watch this show if you haven't, because this video is not a replacement for watching this show, and I'm going to be making my further analysis under the assumption that you have watched the show. I'm going to be admitting things that I don't find relevant, and I'm going to be referencing things that happen further in the series that will spoil the mysteries and twists of this show if you have not watched it. If this was a series that was like behind a paywall, required a large time investment, I probably would do more of like a beat for beat breakdown. But again, it's free on YouTube, so I'm not going to bother. Sorry. Spoilers ahead. Okay, so I'm gonna be real with you. The title isn't like a perfect representation of what I'm doing. Murder Drones isn't really like broken. It's not perfect, but a lot of the criticism of the series comes from things that aren't necessarily bad. Let me expand on that. Murder Drones wasn't made for TV. It was an independently produced YouTube series with months-long gaps in between the episodes. So it's not insane to assume that there's going to be a lot of rewatching and analysis between episodes. So putting a lot of the story into quick shots or frames for people to expand on later isn't necessarily like a bad thing to do in this medium. Truth be told, YouTube is a pretty recent media invention, and comparing it to what we would expect to see in like traditionally produced TV shows isn't like completely fair to it. Now, if Glitch had intended for Murder Drones to be viewed all at once, or at least like very close together, like maybe week by casual viewers, as in like anyone can just sit down and watch it and know what's going on like a normal TV series, how would the script need to be doctored to accomplish that? I'm not saying that my doctored script is a better version of the show we already have. I'm just looking at the hypothetical scenario that Glitch is giving me the script and telling me, make this work for TV. I'm not going to commentate or make suggestions for the animation. I am purely focused on the script, the story, and how it's written. I'm also going to go with the assumption that we are only approved for like very short seasons, so like 8 to 9 episodes, as is unfortunately getting more common as time goes on. Remember seasons used to be 24 episodes? Those were the days. I'm also going to assume that we cannot significantly change the runtime. The episode needs to be between 20 and 30 minutes. I'm going to assume, however, that I have some authority on modifying the story to work better for television. Not that I can completely throw everything out or like completely write everything from scratch, but that I can tweak things to make it work better for this medium. If you're watching this because you don't like Murder Drones and you want to hear me shit on it, you're not going to find that here. I am generally a fan of the series, and I thoroughly did enjoy it, but I did get into it after the series already concluded, and I watched it all like a TV series back to back. Experiencing it that way made me realize how much the story just was absolutely not written for that viewing experience in mind, which is fine, but I think this will be a fun writing exercise and a cool what-if scenario. Now, I actually think the pilot does a mostly solid job overall of setting up the series. So we're going to keep a lot of the story of the pilot the same, which I can't say so much for the couple episodes that follow. There are multiple things that do technically exist in the pilot, but very briefly, that I'm going to expand upon so that a casual viewer could actually like pick up on it. So if I mention something you're like, oh, that's technically in there, I know. I'm writing it, so it's something that the average viewer could easily pick up on. So for starters, keeping the intro with Uzi explaining the universe, it's succinct, it's funny, it does everything we need to know. The joke about the word problem is maybe a little too cringe. I'd probably tone that joke down a bit and have it be like an actual history assignment, and have Uzi lose points because she brought a deadly weapon to school. Still the spirit of the joke, but like a little less, I don't know, I think you need to have like some cringe to make Murder Jones work. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just more like trying to find the best ways to implement it. As for the scene where the gun blows up on her and she's in the nurse's office, I mostly keep that the same, a few tweaks. One, the ice pack and the bandages feel a little too human. I'd rather see something more robot-like, I don't know, putting some glass on her face or some solder lines or something more akin to that. But it's not like a huge deal if that stays. I also put more emphasis on that scene with Chet. Chet as a character, I feel is not utilized the best. He's kind of the only robot who gives Uzi the time of day, and he gets dropped kind of fast on account of, more important plot stuff happening. So I have an idea of what we can do with him to better serve the story, and I do want to do a lot of that setup in this scene. Keep Uzi being like, oh, no one volunteer hangs out with me, and have Chet not comment on how cool her bandages are, but instead comment on how cool her gun is. Have him say something like, for what it's worth, I actually think you're right. I mean, what about the whole hiding behind doors thing? I don't want to spend the rest of my life in this bunker, and I think it's cool that you're actually trying to do something about it. Or, something like that. Some people say, don't make Uzi have an obvious crush on Chet in this scene because of where the story goes. And yeah, I sort of agree. I'm gonna keep the little blushes, but drop the line later about him being a conventionally attractive male. I want to keep it a little more ambiguous. Is she attracted to him, or is she just moved that he believes in her? That's one of those things that I think would actually benefit the story by being ambiguous. We're gonna keep Uzi running off to the door, but drop the hormonal line because again, they're robots, it feels very out of place. Especially since they end up talking about downloading anime and getting their moves from it and their programming, making them sweaty and stuff later. It's really on the pilot that I feel is a little bit too human, so I want to robotify those lines to match the rest of the series. Uzi and Khan having the conversation about her going outside, I'd have go a little differently, but ultimately end up in the same place. I don't think it's in character for Khan to let Uzi outside by herself after his wife was killed by murder drones. I think if the scene played out like that, he would want to go out with her or just not want to go at all. I had the scene go mostly the same, except they're having this conversation by door 2. Khan is hesitant to let Izzy check the door 1, but she insists she can get some measurements from inside. Khan relents and says, okay, and opens up door 2 for her. He explains that he needs to keep the door closed at all times, except for when they're traveling through them. He says he has to go work on something, but he gives her his key card so that she can get back through door 2 when she's done. He reiterates that he's proud of her. The door closes, and Uzi's by herself in the room between door 1 and door 2. So why do I want to set up this way? Well, I want Uzi lying to her dad and going out to have some real narrative weight. I, personally, don't think that the relationship between Khan and Uzi was always handled the best narratively, and I want to hone in and make that character dynamic more clear. Uzi is proactive, Khan is reactive. Uzi wants to kill the drones, Khan doesn't want to risk it. It's also going to give it a lot more weight when Uzi does accidentally let in the murder drones. Khan trusted her, she betrayed that trust, and there were serious consequences because of that. I know that's what technically happened in the series, but it happens so much levity that I don't think the audience casually watching picks up on the rebelliousness of that right off the bat, and I also think it adds a little more nuance to Khan's decision to let Uzi die. He's actually going to get some more character building later, but for now, Uzi uses the car to slip out door 1 without anyone noticing. The rest of the scene of her exploring outside is going to stay most of the same. I do want to have a couple extra shots showing the corpse spire in more detail, since I think that's really an amazing visual metaphor for the destruction that disassembly drones caused that gets very underutilized, and I think it makes the danger in the end fight feel a lot more palpable. I have one possible change, but I've kind of gone back and forth on it. If we're keeping the premise that murder drones are vampires, essentially, and it can't be in the sunlight, I want Uzi to have a throwaway line about how the sun's blocked out, so they're probably hunting. I don't think the end's throwaway line at the end is sufficient for the audience to remember this fact, because it doesn't pop up again until episode 4, and I'll be honest, I forgot about it at that point. My instinct is to take it out, it's kind of dumb. But I can also see a version where we really just commit to the vampirism thing and just really lean in on it. And that feels more in the spirit of the story, so I'll try to accommodate it in my doctored version. The scene with Uzi encountering N is the same. The one thing I'd like to add is a shot of N through Uzi's dissolving hand, because I think it'd be badass. The fight is pretty much the same, except for at the very end, after Uzi blows N's head off and the gun is recharging. I would like to lean into the body horror a little bit more here, linger on that regrowth, have Uzi's face be generally shocked and disturbed, maybe throw in a what the hell for good measure. And I want to get the slapstick with Uzi hitting him with the hand. Just let her look scared as he comes back and makes eye contact. Let's actually let the audience linger in the tension. A big change I want to make with the script is pacing. People aren't pausing frame by frame when watching a TV show, and the ill-timed joke can really make a tone strange or unfocused, and this is one of those scenes where I'm going to implement that. Anyway, and it comes back, peace, howdy do. The rest goes the same. I would write this scene to be a little bit longer after he initially goes through his like spiel of the other two not respecting or not liking him. I'd added some more dialogue where Uzi has been like, obviously hesitant, like lets her guard down a bit and reveals that she also has been made to feel less than by her peers. I want to establish early on this like idea of them kind of being loners in their social circles and for them to kind of build like a genuine connection with each other, which is something I think that they were trying to kind of imply in the show, but we really didn't get enough time to sit with them in this moment, in my opinion. I really want to get across this aspect that disassembly drones don't see the work drones as real people, or robots, I guess. That they see them as like the way the company describes them. Rogue AIs that need to be put down, and vice versa. Worker drones see the disassembly drones as sociopathic monsters. So when Uzi relates to N, it's kind of her being like, oh shit, these are real people robots. When Uzi tells N, you shouldn't trust the company, they'll get rid of you like they did the worker drones, you really think that you're that different, that you're above them, you're not. If you team up with them, they could fix your ship and actually get you out of here. Basically like, they'll kill you once you outlive your usefulness. I want N's response to be like, what do you mean they'd help us? They're defective, right? Why else would the company want to kill all of them? And this is where Uzi would be like, no, they're just as real as you are. Well, I think, probably. But you're definitely gonna be killed by the company anyway, so you should at least try. Now, N at this point hasn't, in his current memories, known a time where someone was genuinely, like, self-actualizing him. Looking out for him. And I think instead of saying, oh, rules are cool, it should be, but what would J and V think? Like, N is very sweet, but he can absolutely be rebellious and have that be in character for him. I think it's a lot more in character for him to be like, I'm kind of afraid of what my squad would think than for him saying like, I love to follow the rules. Anyway, this is just to lay the groundwork that N is a different type of murder drone and Uzi is a different type of worker drone. And that they can relate to each other and they sort of like immediately have this natural chemistry with each other. So I just want to pause and highlight that a little bit more in the script. Plus it gives time for the exposition to sort of like sit with the audience. Anyway, keep this next bit basically exactly the same. Uzi gives N the slip, Jay slaps N's memory back. Uh-oh, railgun. I would probably cut the flag joke as it's a little done and just have V and J give each other a suspicious look. Now here's where I kind of want to make a bigger change. It plays the same except Uzi is alone in the room behind door 1. She uses the key card to close it, but N's claws grip it. There's no jokes about card games, there's no jokes at all right now. You want to actually feel the danger and sit with the terror. Uzi realizes N is going to get in, but the other door, door 2, is still closed. She looks back at him, then to the door. She has to make a choice here. She can sacrifice herself and keep the door closed, keeping the rest of the workers safe, or she can risk opening the door running through, hoping that she can close in time so N can't fall behind her. She chooses to risk it. She opens the door and runs in. Khan and the other door bots are on the other side. Khan looks at her in surprise, asks, what's wrong? Uzi slaps the key to the door, but N's tail sticks it in, keeping it from closing all the way. Then Nina bites to dissolve it as the door slowly opens. She's too late. She's doomed everyone. Run, one of them screams. To the safety room. It's him, Khan whispers. They bolt away. Khan and Uzi have the rest of them. And slices through the drones as he gains on the two of them. Uzi, what have you done? Khan gasps. His eyes are wide with horror. Uzi doesn't have a chance to say anything back because N bursts down between them, forcing them to take a stand. Now, the rest plays out the same, but we actually have some character complexity for Khan. Is it wrong to abandon his daughter? Obviously. But at this point, not only has Uzi put all of them in danger by lying and going outside, she's put them in danger again by going through the second door. Why this change? Well, one, I think it's in character. Uzi is reckless and very much a hormonal teenager. The stakes are so high, and I think that in this scenario that this is sort of like any decision she would make. Two, it gives some actual gravity and consequences to her actions. It's something that feels so brushed off in the pilot, and I think it's a waste. I think that it's better for the audience to feel that emotional impact, especially since there's a good chance that they would make that same call in that scenario. And three, I think it adds depth to Khan's character indirectly. He really comes off as a terrible person in this series, but like not necessarily intentionally. I want to try to honor what the spirit of the writing was trying to get across. Even if it maybe didn't do such a good job in this specific aspect, I think Khan is supposed to be somewhat complicated and also redeemable, so by having his whole life be protect everyone in the bunker, build the doors, keep them safe, and to have his daughter betray him and cause the death of all his coworkers in front of him and be confronted with like fighting the drone that killed his wife in front of him, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that it feels like it's more justified for his character. Things go the same from there. The other two saunter up and quickly hides Uzi, yada yada, and says the same thing. He doubts the company. Jay puts the virus on him and bails. The dialogue here, fine. Keep it mostly the same. I just want to add in a little bit about En being remorseful now that he's about to die, and wishing that he had met Uzi sooner. Maybe he could have gone down a different path. He didn't even know there were different paths. Again, just reaffirming this idea that they do see each other as people, robots now. I would like the idea of Uzi and En teaming together to feel more like natural and earned. I'm not saying they did a bad job of that. It's just a huge shift to go from you're a murder machine to we're teaming up in the span of like one episode. So I think giving like a little bit more screen time to that bond is gonna help. It's gonna help a lot as far as making it more believable to a TV audience. Let's take a quick pause and go over a few things I would change. For one, I want to add a little exchange in the nurse's office. The eye Uzi injures just happens to be her Sulfur eye, so I want this to be the first time we see it glitch. Just kind of covering her eye, does this little glitch. Chet's like, whoa, you good? She's like, oh yeah, I'll be fine. This is something that, happens sometimes. Because this is supposed to be something Uzi inherited. And while I think it's fine to have the fight with Jay, exasperated, I do want to set the framework that's something she's always had. Because I think it was set up in a way that's like way too confusing for a TV audience in its like current state. I also, and I know this might be controversial, I don't think we need Doll in the series. I do think there's a way we could write around her and pass off some of her like plot forwarding traits to other characters. However, she is a fan favorite, and I think I could make her work in a TV setting. Not 100% sure if I want to use her in this series or not, but if I don't, easy, she just won't show her up. She won't show up in this pilot. If I keep her in, I'd probably replace that scene of Chet with Doll. I'd rather establish her in the pilot if she's going to be established at all, and I would put her specifically in this scene because, one, it would establish that Doll does not like the murder drones. I would actually lean more into that, have her be like,
Они отняли у нас жизни. Я не понимаю, почему мы не должны вернуть их обратно.
Also, if we do have that bit about Uzi's eye like glitches, I think that'd also be a good little setup for later. Have Doll's reaction be a little shocked, like, what? Oh, don't worry, I'll be fine. It's not, whatever. It's not really getting to much of exposition. It's just like a nice little setup for later. All right, back to the final fight. So the original pilot is 26 minutes, and I've added a little bit here and there. So would these changes add over 4 minutes to the runtime? Probably not, realistically. The nurse office might be like an extra 30 seconds for the eye glitch. The extra scene with Uzi going through the door, maybe another 30 seconds. En's extended scene with his head growing back, an extra 10 seconds. The extended conversation with En will give probably a minute and a half. The decision to open the door, open door 2, probably another 30 seconds. And the extra dialogue when En gets the virus, I'll give another 30. So that's at most, maybe adding on about 3 to 4 minutes. Still falls within our boundary, but it's a little tight, I'll admit. This is a pilot though, so it's relatively standard to have a pilot be a little longer, not a little shorter, so. With a couple little jokes I cut here and there, it probably would hit around 29 minutes if I had to estimate. Now the final fight, I'm keeping that the same. That fight is so fun. The only thing I want to change is the dialogue at the end. Instead of Chet hyping up En, he just hypes up Uzi. Khan then interjects and says Uzi, get away from that thing. En has a troubled reaction to this. Uzi does not get away from En. She delivers the same line, basically fuck you left me for dead. Once the virus pipes up and it's well, you're the reason half our team is dead. And her pipes up and says, yeah, how do we not know you're on their side? And then Chet's oh guys, come on. And Khan fails to speak up for Uzi. Uzi sees this, doesn't say anything, just makes a sad, angry face. Let's go, she tells En, and they fly off. Very specifically, I do not want there to be any mention of banishment. I want to be clear to the audience that she's just leaving on her own. I also don't want the drones to be all la-di-da with En off the bat. He just murdered a bunch of them. They don't know why he turned coat, but they're not gonna trust him. One of the biggest criticisms of episode 2 is that the drones' trust En isn't earned, and I agree. I have a better idea of how it can play out over episode 2 and 3, but I think leaving up episode 1 with Uzi being the only one sympathetic to murder drones makes perfect sense. The scene where Uzi declares war against the humans and the sunrise is fine. I do actually want that to be more of a through line throughout the script, and it adds a little levity when the audience could actually use some. Is this script fundamentally different? Not really. We still hit the same beats, we just did it in a way where it feels a little more natural, a little more earned, and a little bit easier for a TV audience to keep up with. The more substantial story changes are coming to the next episodes because I think the pilot overall is written pretty well, so I don't really think that much needs to be doctored, honestly. And just to reiterate, this is not like a better version. This is just a version that I believe would work better as a traditional TV series. I'm not trying to knock Liam's writing. I did, again, thoroughly enjoy the show as it is. Please do not take this video as Murder Jones bad and I don't like it, because I do like it. That being said, what do you guys think? Do you think these changes would work better in TV show format? Would you make any different changes? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear y'all's opinions on this. This is going to be a series, so if you want to keep up with it, you can actually just scroll down a little bit and yep, the little red button right there with the bell next to it, you can just click on those, be notified when the next parts drop, or just when I drop a video in general. But you should also watch those too. They're also good. I have a Tumblr if you want to suggest any video ideas or just talk murder drones or theories or anything, really. My asks are open. I also have a Ko-Fi that's full of exclusive companion videos to other cool videos on my channel. Maybe watch the videos on my channel first and then watch the companion videos. That money goes straight back into the channel, so it's going towards more of these, but like better, hopefully. We're on a tight budget. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are awesome, and remember,